Welcome you all for Rural Online classes. So we have completed the mechanical properties of fluids. Now in this class we will start the new chapter, that is thermal properties of matter. So in first year syllabus under heat we have three chapters are there. One is thermal properties of matter, second one is thermodynamics, the last one is the kinetic theory of gases. So three chapters together, and these are the last three chapters which are left for us in this first year portion. Okay, no? So these three chapters are very important and all are interrelated. So okay, so thermal properties of matter related with the remaining two chapters also. So follow the class properly. Okay, so let us start. So in this thermal properties of matter, first we will start with the thermometry. Thermometry. What is thermometry? Thermometry is the branch of heat or branch of physics which deals with the measurement of temperature. It is the branch of heat deals with the measurement of temperature. What does it deal? Measurement of temperature. How to measure temperatures? So we will get in this branch. Okay, so that is the definition for thermometry. What is the meaning of heat? Let us start our discussion with the heat. So heat is the form of energy which will flow from high temperature body to low temperature body. Okay, it is one of the energy form. For make heat to flow, the deciding factor is temperature. Heat will always flow from hotter body to colder body. Okay, na? So this heat is a scalar quantity. The SI unit of heat is given by joule. So heat is measured in SI system joules, whereas the CGS units of heat is calories. Heat is measured in calories. Okay, so 1 calorie is equal to 4.182 joules, which can be also written as 1 calorie is equal to approximately of 4.2 joules. Remember this conversion. So this conversion, this relation is very important for us while doing numericals. Converting the heat from calories to joules or joules to calories. So whereas in calories to joules, 1 calorie 4.2 joules, whereas the 1 joule value 1 by 4.2 calories. That is the relation between the heat and the which one? Between the calorie and the joules. After completion of the heat, so what is the meaning of temperature? Temperature. We generally define temperature of the body is the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. Whether a body hotter or when a body hotter means if temperature is more. When body colder means temperature is less. So degree of hotness or coldness of a body will be given by the temperature. And temperature is the one of the important physical quantity which will tell us the direction of heat flow. So whenever the two bodies are kept in thermal contact, A and B, in which direction heat will flow? From either A to B or B to A, that is decided by the temperature. If temperature of A TA, temperature of B TB, if TA greater than TB, the direction of heat flow so is A to B. Okay, the heat will flow from wherever A to B. If whenever TB greater than TA, so heat will flow from B to A. Are you getting up? So direction of heat is depends upon temperatures. Temperature is a deciding factor. Heat will flow from high temperature body to low temperature body. That's why temperature is a physical quantity which will decide the direction of heat flow. Okay now? So even whenever the heat is flowing from one body to another body, obviously the temperature of the hotter body decreases, temperature of the colder body will increases. After some time, an equilibrium will occur. So that equilibrium is called as thermal equilibrium. Whereas in thermal equilibrium, what happens? So two bodies when said to be in thermal equilibrium means if the temperatures are constant, The concept of temperature is given by zeroth law of thermodynamics. Studying thermodynamics. So what is zeroth law? There you will come to know. The concept of temperature is given by that zeroth law of thermodynamics. So temperature is a physical quantity which will state that whether the system is in thermal equilibrium or not with the surrounding. When system is in thermal equilibrium with the surroundings means if the temperatures are same. So the condition for thermal equilibrium is temperatures to be same. Now I given the three definitions for temperature. The first one is it is the degree, general definition, the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. The second definition is the physical quantity which will decide the direction of heat flow. And the third quantity is given by the physical condition which will tell us whether system is in thermal equilibrium or not, or one body is in thermal equilibrium with another body or not. That condition is given by these temperatures. Okay now. So thermometry deals with the measurement of temperature. Now we will see how to measure the temperatures, the measurement of temperatures. So measurement of temperature. How temperature of a body can be measured? Okay, no? For the measurement of temperature, we have two steps. Generally, the device which is used to measure the temperature, which one? Thermometer. Thermometer is used for measurement of the temperatures. Clear? So, for this measurement of temperature, first we needed a construction of thermometer. Construction of thermometer. So in this construction of thermometer, we need to identify one property of matter. Chapter name is thermal properties of matter. How matter will respond with the heat for temperature. With the change in temperature, how matter will respond. So that is thermal properties. Construction of thermometer required one property of matter. That property called as thermometric property. Thermometric property. What is thermometric property? The property which changes linearly with the temperature. To take the example of, so generally when you go for hospital, there they use mercury thermometer. Mercury is a liquid. The state of matter is liquid state. So whenever the temperature increases, what happens to the liquid volume? Increases linearly. So volume changes linearly with the temperature. That thermometer is mercury thermometer, or it is so that property volume is there na, that property called as thermometric property. For designing a thermometer, we need to use one thermometric property. Their volume is changing with the temperature. If you take the pressure thermometer, the pressure is changing with the temperature. If you take the resistance thermometer, resistance varies with the temperature. If you take a thermoelectric thermometer, thermo EMF changes with the temperature. There are, based on the requirement, based on the range, there are several types of thermometers are there. So different thermometers will have a different range. But every thermometer to construct, we need to identify one thermometric property. The property of matter which changes linearly with the temperature. That property called as thermometric property. For measurement of temperature, first you need to identify that thermometric property. So what are the some thermometric properties are given by? Volume is one thermometric property, pressure is one thermometric property, constant pressure, constant volume thermometer, so constant pressure thermometer, resistance is one thermometric property. Thermal EMF is thermometric property. Thermal EMF is the thermometric property, and thermal radiation, even by using radiation also, so that is also one thermometric property. Okay, na? volume changing with the temperature, volume is the thermometric property, pressure changing with the temperature, it is a thermometric property, resistance changing with the temperature, it is a thermometric property, thermal EMF changing with the temperature or thermal radiation changing with the temperature. First step clear up. What we need to identify? We need to identify one property of matter which changes linearly with the temperature. This is the first step for construction of for measurement of temperature. After the finding the thermometric property, so what will take? If it is a mercury thermometer, what will do? So that mercury was taken in a glass tube. We take one glass tube. So in that glass tube we will take the mercury. Mercury filled up to some extent. Okay na? So thermometric property, what is the thermometric property? Volume changes linearly with the temperature. So okay, the second step is calibration of thermometer. Calibration of thermometer. What is calibration of thermometer? In this calibration of thermometer, to measure the temperature, what we needed our readings are needed. So in this thermometer, if I take mercury thermometer, that is mercury is filled in a glass tube. So to measure the temperature, what we needed are readings are needed. Scaling is needed. Scale is needed on this thermometer. So for this calibration, we needed 2 points. So one is called as lower fixed point. Lower fixed point, lower fixed point, and other is upper fixed point. For any thermometer, we needed a least value and we needed a highest value. So what is the meaning of least value? The smallest value which can be measured. You take a scale. So what is the smallest value? So that is of 1 mm. That is the lowest value. If it is a meter scale, the maximum highest value 100 centimeters or 1 meter. For any instrument which is used for measurement, needed the lower fixed point and upper fixed point. But generally, for the thermometer, lower fixed point is taken as ice point. This is called as ice point. So what is the meaning of ice point? The temperature at which ice melt, that temperature is taken as lower fixed point. The temperature at which so this point is called as what? Steam point. Steam point. The temperature at which water boils or boiling point of water. At what temperature the water boils, that temperature is taken as upper fixed point. Take any kind of thermometer of any scale. So these two are the same. We need to fix one lower fixed point and upper fixed point. The difference then, what is the difference between the lower fixed point and upper fixed point will be divided into number of equal intervals. So, fundamental interval. What is the meaning of fundamental interval? Fundamental interval is the difference between upper fixed point minus lower fixed point. Now, whatever the thermometer scale you take, we need to find out the thermometer fundamental interval. For example, okay, we discuss that fundamental interval is divided into number of equal parts. For example, to take lower fixed point 0, upper fixed point 100. So what is the fundamental interval value? 100. So total space divided into how many equal parts? So 100 equal parts. So this is the second step for measurement of temperature. In first step, we need to construct the thermometer. In the second step, so what we need to do? So we need to do which one? So we need to calibrate the thermometer by fixing lower fixed point and upper fixed point. So after coming to know this, now let us see different temperature scales. There are different temperature scales are what they are. Different temperature scales. So what are the common scales we will come to know here is, one is of Celsius scale or centigrade scale. Centigrade, or it is also called as Celsius scale. In this Celsius or centigrade scale, the lower fixed point will be taken as LFP. Lower fixed point is 0 degrees Celsius. Obviously we know centigrade. Obviously we will use. So what is the today room temperature? 40 degrees, 30 degrees Celsius. Like that we will tell now. That is only centigrade scale or Celsius scale. And what temperature ice will melt? So that is melting point of ice value how much was 0 degrees Celsius. And upper fixed point is given by 100 degrees Celsius. And what is the fundamental interval given by candidate Fi? Fundamental interval how much was 100. So total thermometer will be divided into how many equal parts? 100 equal parts. What is the each part value will be equal to? That is of 1 degree Celsius. Okay na? 1 degree Celsius. This is for centigrade scale or Celsius scale. Whereas the second one is given by Fahrenheit scale. Fahrenheit scale. So in this Fahrenheit scale, lower fixed point is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. These are all defined. Whereas the upper fixed point is given by 312 degrees Fahrenheit. The fundamental interval is given by, so the difference between the lower and upper fixed point, so that is given by 212 degrees Fahrenheit. What does it mean? So total space is divided into how many equal parts? 2 equal parts. What about each part value will be equal to? So 1 degree Fahrenheit. This is the Fahrenheit scale. After completion of the Fahrenheit scale, so next one is Kelvin scale. Kelvin scale is also called as absolute scale. So third one is Kelvin scale, or it is also called as absolute scale, absolute temperature scale. In this Kelvin scale, so generally the absolute temperature, what is absolute temperature? 273.15 Kelvin. At what temperature the matter will be, so the pressure inside the matter, pressure will become 0, pressure and volume. The temperature is called as absolute zero temperature. That absolute zero temperature will be taken as lower fixed point, which is equal to 273.15 Kelvin. And upper fixed point is given by 373.15 Kelvin, and the fundamental interval is given by 100. Okay, na? So this is for the Kelvin scale. And one more is there of Römer scale. So what is this Römer scale is given by in this? So lower fixed point is given by of 0. So 0 degree R. Römer will be represented with the R. And upper fixed point is given by 80 degrees R. And the fundamental interval is given by, which is equal to fundamental interval will be equal to 80. This is the commonly using 4 scales. Which one? Centigrade scale, Fahrenheit scale, Kelvin scale and Römer scale. Actually while doing numericals, maximum time will get the centigrade scale and Kelvin scale. And temperature SI unit is given by Kelvin. Practical unit of temperature is given by centigrade. Are you getting it? Temperature, what is SI unit of Kelvin only, and what is the practical unit of temperature given by centigrade. So these are the 4 scales. In each and every scale, you need to remember what is the lower fixed point and what is the upper fixed point. Conversions are very important, not only for physics, even in chemistry also. When temperature is given in one scale, it is needed to convert into other scales. Okay, na? So that's it. Now let us see how to convert the temperatures. Conversion of temperatures from one scale to another scale. What is conversion of temperatures from one scale to another. How can we convert the temperature from one scale to another? So always remember, whatever the scale you use, for example, I will tell you take one meter scale. So, and I have taken 1 meter scale, their calibration is there in centimeters. I have taken one more scale, their calibration is there in millimeters. If I want to measure any object length by using a centimeter scale or by using a millimeter scale, the answer will be same only. So I may get it as how much? 1100 centimeters means that may be of 10 millimeters. I'll get it now. So that is 10 millimeters. That can be converted. Whatever that you do measure, either by using a millimeter scale or centimeter scale, the object length will be same. Like here also, whatever the temperature scale you use, the final reading is same. For any scale, for example, x is the reading of that scale. For any scale, reading is x. Then you have to remember x minus lower fixed point divided by upper fixed point minus lower fixed point will be always remains constant. To take any values, even you can check it further classes. I will give you x value, I will give you lower fixed point, I will give you upper fixed point, I will give you. You take the values for any scale, so this will remain constant. And this is the formula we will use for conversion of temperature from one scale to another scale. For example, if it is a Celsius scale can I take reading on Celsius scale C? Lower fixed point is 0, upper fixed point is how much? 100 minus 0 will be equal to, if I take the Fahrenheit scale, reading is F. Lower fixed point is 32 by upper fixed point is, so 312 minus 30. This is 212, 212 minus 30. Whereas for the Kelvin scale, so reading this scale minus 273.15. 15 is there, approximately we will take it as 273 divided by 373 minus, so 270. Whereas for the Romer scale, so what can I write? Reading is R minus 0 by 80 minus 0. Are you getting it? So this will be always constant. This will be always constant. So this is the formula we will use for conversion of temperature from one scale to another scale. Whenever you want to convert the temperatures, this is the formula we will use. Okay now, by using this formula, we can convert the temperature from any one scale to another scale. Either it may be a centigrade scale, either it may be a Kelvin scale, either it may be a Fahrenheit scale, or either it may be a Roman scale. Are you getting up? So which can be also written as, actually this can be also written as C minus 0 can be written as change in temperature in, so change in the reading or temperature in centigrade scale. Delta C divided by 100 will be equal to, this can be also written as, so that is reading minus lower fixed point. I am writing it as delta F divided by 180. This can be written as delta K divided by how much of 100. This can be written as delta R divided by how much of 80. So where is delta C, delta F, delta K and delta R the change in temperature in centigrade scale, in Fahrenheit scale, in Kelvin scale and in Roman scale, which can be also written as in all the terms. So 0 cancel, 0, 0, 0 denominator. So 2 table will go, 2 5s are, here 2 table to 9s are, 2 table to 5s are and 2 table to 4. So what can I able to write is delta C divided by 5 will be equal to delta F divided by 9. Delta F divided by 9 will be equal to delta K divided by 5 will be equal to, so delta R divided by how much of 4. Where delta C, delta R, F, delta K and delta R the change in temperature. From this we can show delta C by 5 is equal to delta K by 5. So 5 cancel. What does it mean? Delta C value is equal to delta K. What does it mean is, if you calculate the change in one reading, one body change in temperature in Kelvin centigrade scale, if you convert it into Kelvin scale, the change in temperature value will be same. I will show you. So now, for example, I want to convert the temperature from centigrade scale to Kelvin scale. Which formula I can use? So C divided by 100 will be equal to, so how much I will get? K minus 273 divided by 100. 100 cancel. Therefore, C is equal to K minus 270. Whenever temperature given in Kelvin to convert into centigrade, for example, 300 Kelvin is equal to how many centigrade? 300 minus 273. That is given by 27 degrees Celsius. So similarly, I can write K value is equal to C plus 273. Whenever temperature is given in centigrade to convert into Kelvin, what we need to do? We need to add 270. Are you getting that? For example, 30 degrees is given. 30 degrees is equal to how many Kelvin? 30 plus 273. That is 303 Kelvin. Are you getting that? So this is the formula can be used to calculate the change in temperature. For example, I want to convert the temperature from which scale to which scale? Centigrade scale to Fahrenheit scale. So what can I write? C by 100 will be equal to F minus 32 divided by 180. 0 0 cancel, 5s are 9s. So what I get? C by 5 is equal to 1 by 9 into F minus 32, which can be also written as C is equal to 5 by 9 into F minus 32. By using this formula, whenever the temperature is given in Fahrenheit, that can be converted into centigrade. Similarly, I can also write, so what is the formula for F is equal to, so F minus 32 can be also written. This is a single formula which can be used for calculation of temperature from one scale to another scale. Are you getting it? So you need to remember this formula, and also this is also required. I told you, for example, a body initial temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. Final temperature is 33 degrees Celsius. What is the change in temperature in centigrade scale? Delta T. 33 minus 30, that is 3 degrees Celsius. So 30 degrees Celsius is how many Kelvin? 30 plus 273. So 303 Kelvin. And this one will be 306 Kelvin. You calculate the change in temperature in Kelvin scale. How much I will get? 306 minus 303, which is 3 degrees Kelvin. 3 Kelvin. What does it mean? So when you calculate the change in temperature, either in centigrade scale or Kelvin scale, both the values are same. Now are you getting it? So this is the formula which can be useful for conversion of temperature from one scale to another scale. See, what is the relation I got? Relation between the centigrade scale and Kelvin Fahrenheit scale. So what is the relation I got? C is equal to how much? C is equal to 5 by 9 into F minus 5 by 9 into 30. So okay, what I will get? C is equal to 5 by 9 into F minus, so 9 ones are 9 will go how many times? Nearly 3.1. 9 3s are 27. So 27 here, 32 is there. 32 means 45. So 3.5. So approximately here I will get 17.78. So okay, this is of the form y is equal to mx minus c. If I plot the graph between which one? Centigrade scale on y axis and Fahrenheit scale on x axis. So what is the shape of the graph? Straight line with the negative y-intercept. So where does 0 degrees Celsius is equal to how many Fahrenheit? This is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. It is intersecting the y-axis. So at what temperature? At minus 17.78 degrees Celsius. What is the slope of this graph? Will give you slope is given by m. So slope is equal to m. Slope value will be given by how much? 5 by 1. Whenever you plot the graph between centigrade scale and Fahrenheit scale, centigrade scale on y-axis, Fahrenheit scale on x-axis, so graph will be of the form y is equal to mx minus c, straight line with a negative y-intercept, and slope of the graph is given by 5 divided by 9. So this is the how to convert which scale to scale? Fahrenheit scale to centigrade scale. If I want to convert a centigrade scale to Fahrenheit scale, what will I get? F minus 32 will be equal to 9 by 5 into c. So which is given by F is equal to 9 by 5 into c plus 30. So this is of the form y is equal to mx plus c. If I plot the graph between which one? So between centigrade scale and Fahrenheit scale. But this time Fahrenheit scale on y-axis centigrade scale on x-axis. So graph is a straight line with a positive, so y-intercept. It is intercepting the y-axis here. Where is the intersecting value? Minus 17.78 degrees Celsius. So it is intercepting the y-axis. What is y-intercept value? 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And what is the slope value given by? So slope of the graph is equal to how much? So 9 divided by 5. Are you getting up? So there, here the slope is 5 divided by 9. Here the slope is 9 divided by 5. There it is a straight line passing through. So straight line with a negative y-intercept, and this is a straight line with a positive y-intercept. Are you getting up? Thermometric property, especially in thermal properties of matter, is very important. This is one separated topic. Though the questions are not given in our material, so based on the thermometry, but you go through any competitive exams like CET level, the questions are asking based on this thermometer. So if you can remember these basic concepts, then thermometric problems can be easily solved. Okay, na? Still 1-2 problem formulas are required in this thermometry. Whenever we get any problem, that way we solve. Basically up to here it is enough. And last one more point for this thermometry is what? So generally even this question also frequently asked that what is the temperature which is same for both centigrade scale and which one? Fahrenheit scale. For example, what is the question is? So let me consider one note I am writing. Let reading on the centigrade scale and Fahrenheit scale will be equal to x. I want to calculate that x. What is the relation? C minus 0 by 100 will be equal to f minus 32 divided by 180. Here C value x by 100 will be equal to f minus 32 by 180. Even f value also x now. So 5 0 0 cancel, 5 is 9. What I get? X divided by 5 will be equal to x minus 32 divided by 9. Cross multiply. 9 into x is equal to 5 into x minus, so 30 into, so that is what I will get, 160. Then can I send this 9x minus 5x, 4x. 4x is equal to minus 160. X is equal to minus 40. So minus 40 degrees Celsius or minus 40 Fahrenheit. That is the temperature which is same for both which scale? Centigrade scale and Fahrenheit. That minus 40 degrees temperature is same for both Fahrenheit scale and Celsius scale. Okay? So this is the some part of thermometry. Basically you remember that how to construct the thermometer, what is the lower fixed point, upper fixed point, and what are the values for different scales of thermometer, and how to convert the temperature from one scale to another scale. So you get a further topic that is different types of thermometers like mercury thermometer, constant pressure thermometer, constant volume thermometer, resistant thermometer, like different types. So only that one point is we need to require, that we will discuss at the end of this term. Okay, next, after completion of this thermometry, our main topic is not this thermometry. Our topic is thermal expansion of solids. Next one, solids thermal expansion. So today we will see just introduction for this thermal expansion of solids. So matter is of three states: solid state, liquid state and gaseous state. Whatever the state of matter, maximum, with increasing the temperature, so what happens? They will expand. Either it may be a solid or liquid or gas. For exceptional some cases, maximum all cases, they will expand. The reason for their expansion is because of increasing the distance between the molecules. First we discuss our topic with the thermal expansion of solids. Regarding the solids, in solids, atoms or molecules are packed closely. The separation between the molecules is very less. So the spacing is very less. What are the properties exhibited by the solids are due to force of attraction and repulsion between the molecules. Between the molecules there exists that force of attraction also there, repulsion also there. I am telling between the molecules, that molecular forces between the molecules may be of attractive forces and repulsive also. So when it will be attractive, when it will be repulsive. For example, I consider this is one atom and this is another atom. So one atom is there here, one atom is there here. Here one electron is there. So attraction is there between the electron of one atom with the nucleus of another atom. If they are at certain distance, so this nucleus of this atom will attract the outermost electron of one atom. Due to that reason, between the molecules there exists attraction force. Whenever if I brought the molecules are very close, then what happens? That attraction force will become repulsion. Why means when two molecules or atoms come closer, the electrons in the outermost orbital will repel each other. That time they will repel. What does it mean? The properties of molecules, the properties of solids, what are the properties exhibited by the solids are due to their molecular force of attraction or repulsion. Here we show when it will be attraction, when it will be repulsion. So these attraction repulsion forces will not obey inverse square law. Even these are also electromagnetic forces. Okay now? Then in this equilibrium state, under this equilibrium state, so shape of the solid will not change, it will fix it. Under this equilibrium state, these attractive forces are balanced by repulsive forces. That's why the solid will have definite size and shape. Okay now? So that is the reason for this. Actually here we need to discuss the stability of the solid by using potential energy curve. But curve will be a bit complicated. That curve not necessary. In further topics we require, whereas in oscillation we discuss that curve. So that curve is now not required. Just generally we discuss. Whenever a solid is in equilibrium, these attractive forces are balanced by the repulsive forces. So there is no change in shape and size. Whenever such a solid is heated, when heat energy is applied, because of the thermal energy supplied, so what happens? The molecules will start vibrating. They will displace from their position. So due to that reason, so whenever heat is applied, they will get some thermal energy. Due to the thermal energy, the separation between the molecules will start the vibrating mode. When their vibrations are increasing, separation will increase, will cause a solid to expand. Majority of solids with increasing temperature, they will expand due to increase. So this is the case when heat not supplied. When heat is supplied, separation between the molecules increases, which provide the solid to expand. That is the main reason. Initially when heat energy is not supplied, the molecules are fixed in equilibrium state. Attractive repulsive forces are balanced. So due to that reason, that solid will have different size and shape. When you started supplying heat, so solid shape or size will changes due to increase in the distance between the molecules of the solid. Are you getting that? So that is the main reason. So generally solids is of two types. One is of isotropic solids, and one more is of anisotropic solids. So what is the meaning of isotropic solids? Those solids, the properties are same. The properties of solids in all direction, such solids are called as isotropic solids. What are the properties are there? The density, mass, whatever it may be, that is same in all directions, such a solids are called as isotropic solids. The example for the isotropic solids are metals. So examples are given by, the examples are metals. Metals are the example for isotropic solids. Even rock salt also example for isotropic solids. Whenever a isotropic solid is heated, the thermal expansion is same in all directions. It will not expand irregularly. It will expand regularly in all directions. That is for isotropic solids. Whereas the anisotropic solids means what? Reverse. Those solids in which properties are not same in all directions. Such a solids are called as anisotropic solids. The examples are given by all crystalline solids. All crystalline CaCO3 are there no? Crystalline solids will come under anisotropic solids. In this anisotropic solids, thermal expansion is not same in all directions. Whenever CaCO3 is heated, so it will not expand uniformly in all directions. Such a solids are called as anisotropic solids. Are you getting that? So, whatever it may be the isotropic and anisotropic, majority of solids with increasing temperature they will expand. But there are some solids are there which will contrast on heating. Whenever heat is supplied, there are some solids are there. Exceptional case. Actually, except water, remaining all liquids will expand with increasing temperature. Water has some peculiar property. When the temperature of the water increases from 0 to 4 degrees, instead of expand, it will compress. After 4 degrees only, it will expand. That expansion is called as anomalous expansion of water. So, water is an exceptional case in liquids whenever heat is supplied. Whereas in some solids are there which will contrast, so on heating, that are given by ice and lead, so cast iron, okay, and the silica glass, and so one more is of ice is over, lead is over, so cast iron is CaSt, cast iron, and silica glass. So these are the few examples for the solids which will contrast whenever heat is supplied. So instead of expansion, so what happened to them? So they will contrast. Except these few solids, and majority of solids with temperature increases. So what happened to them? So they will expand. Okay now. So this expansion only we discuss, not for contrast. This expansion of solids is mainly of three types. So whenever a temperature is heated, temperature is applied, so solid size also changes, shape also changes. So thermal expansion of solids is of three types. One is of linear expansion, and other is of aerial expansion, and the last one is of superficial volume expansion. So regarding that thermal expansion types, linear, aerial and volume expansion, tomorrow class will continue. Okay now? So till class we studied just why solid will expand. How many types of solids are there? Is there any solids are there which will contrast with the increasing the temperature? Okay now? The types of thermal expansion of solids, the tomorrow class will discuss. Okay now? So thank you.